Browns are 9-3. I've been doing this radio show for 20 years, and the Browns have never been 9-3 in those 20 years. The last time the Cleveland Browns were 9-3 was 1994. There's a clip on the inner tubes playing of American Hustle, which if you'll play it for me, gentlemen, I'll let people watching on YouTube and Facebook see it. It is of who's the star? Bradley Cooper is walking in and giving everybody high fives, and the subtitles are just hilarious because it's Brown fan. Louis C.K. plays Baker haters because he's upset with everything. And the guy behind his desk with his feet up are Browns fans over the age of 55 who are feeling immeasurable joy. I guess we don't have it ready to play. I'll show it to you a little bit later. But it is a great day for Browns fans, and we have waited a long time. Hold on a second. That's the sound for us to check our weather center. Dwayne is in the weather center. He's the official meteorologist, having finished night meteorology school. Can we go to the weather center? There we go. Dwayne, what's the weather like in Southern California?
It's cold, dark, never-ending misery and doom.
There you go. That's our weather center this morning. And would you open up the lines? Because I want to talk to Georgia voters. 1-800-520-1234. It's the last day that you can register to vote. If you're not registered, you can check. I have tweeted out the links. Georgia voters only. Donald Trump went down and laid it on the line, cut number 6.
If you don't vote, the socialists and the communists win. They win. Georgia patriots must show up and vote for these two incredible people. And I'm telling you, they're two of the finest people you'll ever meet.
David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler got the 100% strong support of the president. And when he says socialists and communists, he's referring to the socialists Ossoff and Warnock and the communists in Cuba, who will be excited to have them in the Senate because the boycott will, the Obama giveaways will return. He went on to describe John Ossoff completely. This was a Kelly Loeffler rally, cut number 7.
David's opponent, John Ossoff, is a radical left-wing zealot who is very proud to be endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Crazy Bernie. Ossoff supports defunding the police, supports the crazy Green New Deal. That's another beauty. Don't forget, the Green New Deal is really $100 trillion, okay? It's $100 trillion. They don't say that, Louis, do they? They talk about $3 trillion. They got down to $3 trillion. No, it's $100 trillion is what they wanted. That's more money. If our economy was going unbelievable gangbusters for 100 years, no recession, no anything, we couldn't come close to making $100 trillion. They want to rip down buildings and rebuild them with no windows. I like windows. I like big, beautiful windows. He wants to do a total government takeover of health care that will destroy your doctor's offices and rural hospitals. So if you're sick, if you have a cold, go to a hospital, wait online for about 3 days, and hope you get a decent doctor. Ossoff also supports a crippling nationwide lockdown. He wants you to lock your home nice and tight after you're inside of it. And he passes legislation to let hardened criminals go free. Get them out of jail. Get them out of jail. Ossoff will be a complete tool for the radical left donors who are trying to buy Georgia's Senate seats.
And then he went on to talk about who he supports, which are David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, cut number 11.
We're gathered here tonight to ensure, a very important word, ensure, because these are two great, great people that I know so well and respected by everybody in Washington and beyond, that David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler win the most important congressional runoff probably in American history. I really believe that. I think it's in American. There's never been a time like this where you have two at one time. At least you have two beauties. And you know what? You also have two beauties running against them, but beauty in a different way. They're two beauties. But there's never been a case where a state has had this prominence on Senate races because they're never together. And this is something that's very important, and you have to get out and you have to vote. You have to make sure you have every vote counted. Every vote has to count. You got to make sure they don't throw away any ballots. You got to make sure that when they collect the ballots and they start bragging about how many ballots they already have, you got to make sure your Secretary of State knows what the hell he's doing. And you got to make sure your governor gets a lot tougher than he's been. He's got to get a lot tougher. Because at stake in this election is control of the U.S. Senate, and that really means control of this country.
And then he went on to talk about Kelly Loeffler, specifically cut number 8.
On January 5th, you also need to vote for your incredible Republican Senator, Kelly Loeffler. Kelly has been an exceptional champion for Georgia's workers and families, and I know what they fight for. I could tell you about David, I could tell you about Kelly. She fights for you every single day, loves your state. When our nation was hit with the China virus, Senator Loeffler helped rescue the U.S. economy by voting to pass a historic $3 trillion bill, relief for American workers and families, and a lot of people were against it, and it turned out to be a great thing, Kelly. Thank you.
And then, of course, let's check in on what the left-wingers who are running said. This is John Ossoff making an appearance. David Perdue won't debate this kid. This kid should not be debated. He's a left-wing radical, and David Perdue has said, shoo. Cut number 15.
President-elect Biden has said his top priority is getting a generous stimulus package through Congress. You've called for direct stimulus checks to jumpstart the economy. But what should those payments look like, and what limits should be imposed to ensure that they don't go to people who shouldn't merit getting them?
I think we shouldn't get bogged down in the details.
That is John Ossoff to the T, not getting bogged down in any detail. He's a 33-year-old, never had a real job, left-winger who is a lightweight AOC. Raphael Warnock is just a good old-fashioned radical. He got asked at a debate with Kelly Loeffler about packing the Supreme Court, the most radical idea in America. Cut number 16.
If Democrats do win control of the U.S. Senate, there'll be pressure to increase the size of the U.S. Supreme Court. Would you support adding more justices to the Supreme Court to offset President Trump's recent appointments? And do you think there needs to be term limits for justices on the bench?
I want to point out that Kelly Loeffler actually voted to defund the police. She voted against the COPS program. She was one of only 10 United States senators who did. I don't think we should defund the police, but we certainly do need criminal justice reform. We need to make sure that we have an independent review process when civilians die at the hands of police. We need to make sure that police and officers and departments that have a pattern of misconduct are held accountable. We can do that and celebrate police at the same time. And as I move all across the state, Greg, people aren't asking me about the courts and whether we should expand the courts. I know that's an interesting question for people inside the Beltway to discuss, but they're wondering when in the world are they going to get some COVID-19 relief? They haven't gotten any from Kelly Loeffler in months. And when she had a chance to stand up for ordinary people, she thought $600 was too much. Meanwhile, she was busy dumping millions of dollars of stock, profiting from a pandemic. Who does that?
But it will impact people on the ground. So I am wondering if you can answer the question, do you support expanding the Supreme Court?
I'm really not focused on it. And I think that too often the politics in Washington has been about the politicians. I'm a pastor.
Can we play Kelly Loeffler, cut number 18, one of her... He didn't answer the question on court packing. Cut number 18.
Look, I'm not going to be lectured by someone that uses the Bible to justify abortion, to attack our men and women in the military. You know, what's happening here is someone who will not own up to their own record of division. He has called on Americans to repent for their worship of whiteness. That's divisive. That's hurtful. He celebrated Jeremiah Wright, anti-Semite. He's actually called Israel an apartheid state. That is wrong for America. Can you
also play cut 19 very quickly?
Reverend Warnock, in your writings and your teachings, you've repeatedly praised Marxism and the redistribution of income. Can you here and now, for all Georgians, renounce socialism and Marxism?
He did not do so. That's why you need to register to vote if you are in Georgia. Today is the last day to register, and then come right back here to the